Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. I'm also a little bit tired. Kind of went running around because, as Captain Commerce said, hello, Captain Commerce, hello, Dukasoft. It is Labor Day here in the Memorial Day? Memorial Day. Which is it? Memorial Day. It is Memorial Day here in the US, which means that a lot of businesses, a lot of companies treat it as a holiday. M and M, got it. Memorial in May, and L in S. um, anyway, so I have today off of my regular day job, but I decided to take some time to work on the Microsoft Learn Challenge. So, if you guys aren't familiar with it yet, I've mentioned it before, but we have the Microsoft Build Cloud Skills Challenge. And if you complete it before the end of June, I think it is, or sometime mid June, anyway, 20 something days from now, then you can get a free certification exam voucher. And in one of those certification exams that they have selected, I'm trying to pull up the site and then I'll switch over to the desktop shortly. But I've also been doing other things, keeping myself busy. So it kind of feels like I don't really have anything that's open or not open that's in the right place because I've just been doing so much. So much. Let me get this stuff moved around. No, I didn't mean to close that. Scooch. May your Memorial Day be awesome. You know, it's kind of interesting when you think about it too hard, but saying happy Memorial Day, it's kind of like oxymoronic. Did you just say it's moronic? Right. How you doing? How much time should I spend in the first job as a programmer? Years minimum? Have a good working condition, but project is average, and I fix bugs and add small to medium features. Not big implementations. Okay. The amount of time, as with everything, depends. Yeah, I got it. So my response is based on your own personal growth path, based on what you want to do, where you want to be at. If you don't feel like you're growing anymore from the work that you're doing, it's not challenging you enough, it's not exposing you to the right things, then see if there's a way, especially if you enjoy your workplace already, see if there's a way that you can increase the level of complexity of what you do or what they ask you to do at your work. And then two, that would be an indication of if they say no, if you don't have those opportunities, if you don't have mentors that'll teach you this on the side, then that would be an indication that you should look for another position that would have the challenges that you're looking for. That would be my advice regarding that. Yeah. But yeah, so it's not really a specific time. Um, like you say, stick with the job for 3 years before you ever leave it. No, it's definitely based off of those things. Now, once you get further into it, there may be more considerations to make. Like You may get to a point where any job will give you the same level of exposure. I keep using that word. I'm trying to find a synonym for it, but it's the best word that I can find right now. Exposure to the programming techniques, challenges, and type of work that you want to do, but the environment itself might not be the most conducive for your learning. Like, let's say it's a team that doesn't really work well together, and or there are just conflicts that arise too often. Then you can start having the choice of, is it right to leave this team after just 3 months? Maybe, still, depending on how volatile the environment is, but just note that it does reflect on your resume. But for our industry in particular, it kind of seems like it's expected for developers to have shorter stints, provided they're doing stuff like consulting work instead of working on a product team. So, yeah. But anyway, that's for future for you. But for right now, definitely, as soon as you feel like you're growing out of your britches, buy some new ones. Good analogy? Yeah, Captain Commerce agrees. Like for me, I guess, my experience with that is I used to work federal service for a really long time in a human resources office. And that human resources office allowed me to do some programming. I did a lot of stuff with macros and VBA. And then I started doing a little bit with actual .NET development in that office. And so I'm like, as as comfortable as I am in this job, because it was a very secure job, I could have worked there for a really long time if I wanted to, but I would not grow. But I was like, I need some more experience. I need to be able to work on actual software development products, not just ones that I come up with on my own as a solo developer working inside of this small office. Yeah, we had a lot of users and stuff, but in the um, long run, it was still just not very much experience. And so I was like, I need to start looking for a job more programming heavy. So then I got another job within federal service still that I thought was going to fit the bill and it didn't. So that was a mistake. And then that environment was just very volatile. And then I left there as soon as I got my actual dev job working for the Rocky Mountain Arsenal that way. Um, and then I worked there for 3 years, which again, not a specific number. It's just the amount of time that I went until I was like, okay, this is no longer providing the same benefits. The cons are starting to outweigh the pros. I've got everything that I could from it. So it's time for me to move to another position. So I started looking for something that's more like a product focused development team, especially because I hadn't worked with a development team, and ended up getting a consulting job with Sagetti. And now that I'm mentioning them, all of the views and opinions expressed on this channel are my own views and opinions, and not necessarily the views and opinions of just Sagetti. Anyway, so I started working on this team, and it's only been a year, but I'm already like, this isn't the right team for me. It's definitely the right work, but there have just been so many situations that I've encountered that are just like, this doesn't jive. So I may or may not look for a different team within Sagetti or just another opportunity in general eventually. But at the same time, we did have one of our team members decide that they want to retire. And that being said, thank you, Deflux, for the subscription, or at least for letting us know that you resubbed 24 months in a row. 2 whole years. 2 whole years. Oh my gosh, that is a long time. Jaw drop. But so we are actively hiring for another person on our team that will be doing a lot of the. It's all C sharp. There will be some C++ or some at least knowledge of using public static extern Windows API library methods. But it's a WPF application. We use Blazor for the front end. We use C Sharp everywhere. And the goal of the application is to provide diagnostics tools for the operating system, or not the operating system, for the hardware in that particular brand of computer. Deflux says, I'm at work, I'm in a mall. Are you being a mall cop today? I am not at work. I just felt like still streaming. I'm trying to get Windows open, which is why we're still on this scene. Indian man. But here's the thing though. I have brought up to my project manager all of the concerns that I had on the team. And I've talked with each team member individually about things that I've observed while being on the team. And the thing that I don't want to do is change the team dynamic just because I'm like, this is not a good environment that is conducive to getting stuff done together. But at the same time, I'm not sure that they understand how it is for an outsider. So if they're trying to get new people on their team, creating an environment where it's inclusive and feels like we have synergy and working together is pretty important. And that we care about the work that each other does, and the overall quality of the product is pretty important. That would be nice. I received pushback initially, and then saw very little in the way of change. And then here, a year later, it's still not quite there, but it is better than it was. So I'm kind of like second guessing myself. Maybe it can improve. Maybe we can continue with this, because again, I love working on this product. It is so much fun. And you've heard me say this if you've been here for a long time, like Deflux. You've heard me say this about the Rocky Mountain Arsenal job, where the work was just so much fun. So many cool things that I could explore and do. So much freedom. But again, it ran its course, and yeah. And then of course, the whole supervisor thing there. But anyway, here we are. Day 134, not really 134. I watched back one of the videos from MS Build, the Mads Christensen one, and he gave a statistic where some poll went out, and it was found that an average developer only spends 51 minutes, 52 minutes of their day writing code. And thinking about that in terms of a stream project, yeah, I thought it was community day. I know I forgot to update the message before starting the stream because I was in a rush, because I was in the middle of what I was doing. And then I looked up and I was like, oh, 2 minutes before the stream starts. Let me get it started. But yeah, just thinking of this project with that statistic, that would mean something like 2 minutes of work per stream. 10 minutes. 2 hours divided by 4. Whatever that is. 20 minutes, I guess. Wait, not 4. Divided by 8. Yeah, so 20 minutes. And even less than that, but whatever. Estimating. So anyway, what are we doing with this app? We're finishing up the lookup list stuff, lookup list management. We did sketch out what we wanted it to look like in the last stream that we worked on the project. Friday was kind of fun though. Friday we were actually exploring the web view control for HoloLens, or I guess just for Unity projects in general, but they would have to support WebView, so specifically HoloLens, I guess. Figma. But yeah, Dukasoft posted the link to the project on GitHub. It is open source. And I am opening up the Figma so that we can see the design that we came up with on last Wednesday regarding what we might want this page to look like. And so this is what we came up with. We're going to add a tab for the list management. And again, this is all subject to change. It's just the overall controls are going to be there. So we're definitely going to have some way to navigate between payments, deposits, and transfers, and also access the list management. And then the list management is going to show the lists on the left. We might not even have this kind of like filter text box to find the list because there are so few. So they'll just probably be listed. The lists will be listed. So then we can pick the type. We'll see the data over here on the right side. We'll be able to add new items, change the order, and edit existing items like show. And then here is an example of, I don't like the alternating row colors, but just the gist that we're going to have alternating rows. And then here's what it would look like to edit one of the lookup items. So we're editing cash and calling it cash money. And then we are accepting that. Oh yeah, that's what this was. And then we're going to see a toast notification that it was successfully saved. Cool. So I think we started also creating the Razor components. We didn't actually put any content in them. We were just creating files. So let's take a look at that. Oops. Let's take a look. That is list management. List management page. That's what we got. Oh, no. And then also the list for the left side. So this thingy here. So this thing is going to have not a data entry wrapper. Yes, it is. It's going to be a data entry wrapper. It's this thing that's going to change. This thing is going to have a wrapper on it. Yeah, and I'll do it like this. Oh my goodness. Lag. So much lag. What are you going to do about it? Okay. The lookup list here, which I'm trying to F12 on and it's not taking me there. I think I might have too many Visual Studio instances open. And my RAM is getting eaten up. So let's close that one. ¿Qué más? Nada. Okay. F12. Stuck keys, maybe? No? Wow. I don't know why it didn't take me here. Whatever. So anyway, as I was talking about earlier, the Mads Christensen MS build thingy, where he was a presentation where he was giving us tips and tricks for Visual Studio, which I love seeing because there's a lot of things that I'm not aware of unless I hear someone tell me about it, because reading and then taking the time to explore. Like, I used to be able to take all the time to explore this, but now it's just been extremely busy and hyper focused. So I haven't been exploring outside of this. But one thing that I thought was really, really cool was this thing called the Endpoints Explorer. Endpoints. It's called Endpoints Explorer. There it is. Did I type it wrong last time? I probably typed it wrong. And so what is the Endpoints Explorer? Marcus is like, I know what this is. It's a bit like Postman, but inside Visual Studio. It's more like Swagger, but inside Visual Studio. But I agree with you, like Postman. So here, it recognized that my server project has a bunch of controllers, or at least one controller. It has a whole bunch of endpoints, API endpoints. And you can see that it just checked every single project, essentially, that's in the solution. And it said, does it have API endpoints? And if so, then show that to me. So here we are. That's what we have here. We have endpoints. So I hope Thindle shows up. If not, hopefully he streams soon and I get to ask him on his channel. There is a new thing that they added where if you right click, generate request, you get this .http file. And so that'll give you this endpoint. So your normal API's endpoint, and then the GET request. For example, you hit play, spins it up, runs the API, and it says, oh, it doesn't spin it up. You have to spin it up yourself. And it says gateway timeout. And so my very first question in stuff like this is, does it support authorized endpoints? So I was watching the video, of course, this morning because I had the time to. And I was like, does this thing support authorized endpoints? And the answer is no, it does not. Not right out of the box. Well, that's a lie. It does, but it doesn't automatically give you a way to provide information. So what I was thinking of doing eventually was at fineandman dot, and then we create a new variable. I'm assuming that this is like a view bag. So I would do server API token. And so this is where I would ask Thindle if he could extend the nodocs extension to include .http. Oh, wow. and you actually don't use quotation marks for your strings, so that you could just create an API key or something that you put up here. And then for all of your, whatever these are called, requests, then you can add the authorization header. Hey, that thing was going to do exactly what I wanted. And so this thing would be EJY, whatever you get back. Shout out to Thendo's no docs. So if we could get something like that where all of your variables that get assigned up here are masked, and it'll just be the regex would be like @ symbol project name, if he even has access to the project name, dot. Oh, actually the whole project name is this. Project name underscore variable name equal sign, and then everything after the equal sign gets masked. Then we could do something like this. And it's like this thing doesn't care about authorization, but if I had an authorized endpoint, then I would want to pass in my token. The alternative, because I do have an app that has authorized endpoints that I was testing it in, the alternative is, let's say we had our authorization attribute, authorized attribute. Dang it. I don't even have the package installed, and that's why it did that. Oh, it's just authorized. Oh my gosh, never mind. Okay, so the authorized attribute. The other way that you can do it is if debug, then you can do something like allow anonymous, else is the authorized attribute. The problem is that you're not going to be able to test when your app is logged in and when it isn't logged in, kind of stuff. But at least this will allow you to hit the API endpoints without needing to have a token, but then when you deploy the app, you need to be logged in order to access those endpoints, kind of thing. Yes, hello Thindle. Okay, so I don't know if you saw Mads or just knew about this in general. I think, what's his name? James Montemagno also gave a video, created a video on this as well. But the Endpoints Explorer, I was wondering if you might be able to add a .http file to NoDocs. And Alu the Crow is here. Hello, Alu. And the only thing that you would mask is anything that fits the regex at some stuff, space equals, and then everything after the equal sign. Now, what would so this is at least until Microsoft includes their ability to use secrets. So they were talking about being able to add secrets to this thing. So you would access, like, I don't know, some variable from your secrets in here instead. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it was just it would be cool if kind of thing. Because the other thing that I would love to do is have the auth flow be right here. And that would essentially generate the token. And so the first thing that you do is you set your API token equal to your auth flow stuff. Look, this is probably someone's actual token. You set your auth flow, or you set your token equal to whatever response you get back from the auth flow, and then you use it in the rest of these things. Which I guess you could still do, technically. It's just you would need to copy and paste the response as opposed to just being able to directly set it here. But anyway, just things to explore, things to think about. It's so cool. Yeah, true. So like here, I just typed in gibberish. If you want to see it, I mean, I don't care about it, but you seem to be interested. And I live to entertain. How did that not go to the site? I typed it in exactly as it belongs. Huh. It's generic. Look at that. That was cool. It's incomplete too. Did I not get the whole thing? No, I got the whole thing. Love it. Hello, the Z-Man. Things are going fantastic. Yeah, we're definitely going to get on our way for implementing this design. I just wanted to show off one of the coolest things that I saw from Mads Christensen's talk at MS Build about Visual Studio extensions and tools and stuff that we aren't using. Yeah, he's so cool. I was kind of annoyed by the way he was talking on stage. It was very nerve wracking. I don't know if that's just how he normally talks, but ooh, trying to watch it and do other things at the same time was like, I'm just going to fully pay attention to this. Because there were so many, I don't know, there were just so many extra noises that he made. He's Danish, they're odd. So, anyway, I thought that this was really cool. Being able to have Swagger slash Postman directly in Visual Studio. The other cool one that they showed was essentially being able to do your pull requests in Visual Studio as well. So not just the commit, not just now. The next thing that they added was referencing issues by starting it off with a hash. So then you can reference either the pull request or the issue or whatever it is that you want to reference directly in your commit message, directly in Visual Studio. But once you do your commit, also being able to do your pull request in Visual Studio. They mentioned that there were so many people that were, I don't want to say complaining, so many people that indicated you can do 90% of the stuff in Visual Studio as far as managing your Git repo. Why can't you also do your PR? And it looked cool. It's in preview, I believe. And yeah, so that was another one. So Marcus saw the same video then. I'll try to figure out what you're asking, Dindle, in a second. But you can. The one thing that I saw that you couldn't do from the quick demo that they showed was to choose your reviewers. Gosh, that was difficult. Choose who is going to review your PR or who you're pegging to review your PR. So you'll get the same banner across the top here once you do a check-in that says create a pull request, except instead of the link taking you to GitHub, it'll open up the Git changes. Not Git changes, Git history. Manage branches. And then on the left here is where she showed that you can fill in all of your pull request details. Okay. So the HTTP panel thing, I mean, I know about the files and the play buttons on the side, but you have an endpoint explorer. Yeah, so that's the thing that I was saying was recently added. You can, I actually don't know where to find it. I had to go up here. And it's in View Other Windows. There we go. So View Other Windows, Endpoints Explorer. It is in the latest GA Visual Studio update. Know a little bit about everything and a lot about nothing, says Alu. But yeah, Marcus was saying, I'm a fan of the colored solutions, but that's still an extension at the moment. Yeah, so he wanted to show off there are thousands of extensions. One of his favorites that he wanted to highlight was this color coded solutions. So this thing up here where your solution, your open solution name just has a gray background by default. You can color code it. You can also color code it by branch as well. And I thought that that was cool. One thing that I would love to request someday is to, like, I like having the vertical tabs, but to be able to group your vertical tabs however you want. Right now you have two choices: group by project or don't group at all. And I would love to be able to say no grouping, but let me choose multiple files, right click, group. That would be super cool. The thing that they did do, though, that I just noticed was, so by default, when you do vertical tabs, I think by default, you get colorization so that this small bar across the top and then the file highlight thingy is colored by project by default for me. You can color it by file extension, but you can also color it by regex. And then you can choose the regex to use, and then it'll color each one that's on a new line. I thought that was really cool. Okay, so let's do it. Let's finally get some stuff done on this. We are creating the actual UI for this component here, the lookup list, the list of lookup lists, and then we will create the UI for the edit component. And so we would need a lookup list edit. Blazor. Okay, so we're going to start with the lookup type list, which we're going to have a H3 that is going to say localizations, shared localizer service. Seriously? I have the localizer service everywhere. Don't I? I don't. Excuse me. Wait, it's a static class, so of course I have it everywhere. So shared localizer service should be static. Oh, the using isn't everywhere, I think, is what the issue is. but I don't have an at using here, which means that it has to be in imports. Shared local, yeah. So I don't know. That's weird. It should definitely be here. Why do I have to import it? That doesn't make sense. It's in my underscore imports. Right here. That's really weird. I don't know why it's making me import it again. The Z-Man is saying, I've just started learning about Razor. I've learned that I hate front end and I always am in a dreadful state when I try it. Oh man, that's sad to hear. I hope you're able to enjoy it more by using Razor markup, Razor syntax, because you are writing more C# than you are HTML. Once again, maybe you can take a note from my book, but the way that I do it, like I did this design here just so that I could practice doing design, but what you still might notice from it is that it's very rudimentary. It's very like simplistic. It's not great design. I didn't consider all the things that I need to consider, such as in UX concerns, such as in accessibility. So, like, is the space between these things good enough? The space between the buttons, the padding around the buttons, the hit target for each of the buttons, is that good enough for touch? Is it good enough for gaze? Is it good enough for anything that any kind of input that users might want to use? You know who does awesome UX? Who? Tell to me. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is my first and foremost concern, UX people, my first and foremost concern is functionality. But I do want to improve my skills at doing UI and UX. So little by little, I will continue incorporating more and more and more. Okay, what is this text that I'm looking for? Lookup lists. Which again, we can change the text for, but for now, simple. Lookup list title. And so we will use lookup list title. And so you could see that this thing showed up immediately because I am using a .resx file, and I have that .resx file set to public modifier. And what that means is that we get a generated code behind that gives us all of our resx name entries as static strings. And so, again, that's one of the things that I'm trying to get better at, which is writing the app in a way that could be localized if we ever were going to. And that shouldn't be too hard to do with how good AI is getting lately. So we may try generating a whole bunch of these localized files after we're done. Okay, Thindle, thank you so much for hanging out, though. This is cool. He is going to stream today. I will add you to my multi-stream. Okay, so then based off of our design, like I said, I'm not really liking this filter text box that I was thinking initially. I was initially thinking start typing in a lookup list name and then it'll filter. But there are so few of them that we shouldn't need that. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to list all of the lookup list types. And the way that we're going to do that is by using an unordered list. Right. ID equals lookup list mate. Lookup list types. Lookup types list. Lookup types list wrapper. Lookup types list wrapper Duke filler organized div wrapper for the sake of having another wrapper in the ID wrapper. Okay. How'd I do? Did I finally get a name right? Okay, what that'll do is it will give us a wrapped component so that when I use it somewhere like here, when I use it somewhere like here, which it's now broken. Oh, I had my head tilted down too long. My Bluetooth headphones cut off. We'll get back to that. Then we can style it as if it was a component that we want to place somewhere, kind of thing. Okay. Lookup type list wrapper UL for each varchar lookup in lookup. I don't. Oh, I do think. So enum dot get values. Do I have these with a display name? I don't. I don't have them with the display name, but that's fine. At least we can see them. Thank you so much for the follow. I am Ray. Or is it I am Mr. I? And Vindle just went live, so let me refresh that so that I can start lurking on his stream. We'll most likely rate him at the end of our stream. Or you can lurk on his channel too. Or just head over there. Whatever you feel like doing. I'm not your mom. I don't get to tell you what to do. What we're going to do then is create an attribute for list type display info. Include is going to be a Boolean. So let's create this attribute, and we'll create it below for now. We want to specify the attribute usage, and I think it's field. I don't remember member being a thing. Yeah. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's field when you're talking about the enum members. And this is going to be defaulted to true, which I don't like doing that. So I would rather do something. Well, I don't want to have to set it. Yeah. I only want to set this attribute when we aren't going to use it. And then we're going to have a whole bunch of extension methods. Static class lookup list type extensions. That is kind of one of them. But the one that I really want is excluded. Oops, these will do list type. And then this is going to get this attribute, or first it's going to get this type, get the actual member from this type, get the attribute on that member if it has a lookup or a list type display info attribute, and then check to see if it has an excluded property that is not true or false. Okay, is that what you're doing? We are getting the actual field member info. Then we're going to get the attribute. So I don't like get custom attributes. We could just get attribute. And then say false, don't go up the chain. Excuse me. Excuse me. Attribute. We can do attributes apparently. And then we don't need the as. Because that's an IEnumerable. And we'll just do any. Actually, we will do, oh, we can still do any, but we're going to list it. I'm waving at you. I'm waving at you, Thindle. Okay, so, nullable. Nullable. Okay, so it will be false if there was no attribute found or there are none. So either the attribute wasn't there. Oh, that's what it is. Either the type couldn't be found or the attributes themselves were null, or there weren't any list type display info attributes on that member. And if there was one, oh, yeah, I don't like this. We're going to make it even easier. Attributes first, exclude false. That's easier. Okay, so if attributes is null, if there were no list type display info attributes, and then finally the exclude. Visual Studio says, hey, I think you're trying to break stuff. Let me help you. Help me break stuff? I could do that just fine on my own. Thanks. Wait, that's not what you meant. I kind of don't want this. The only thing that I really want is this excluded value, because we can get display name, and then we're going to have, this is perfect, shared No, we're going to do finan man shared localization. Did I spell it wrong again? Not enums. Oh gosh, I forget how to do this. Who else is using enums? You there? Oh, it actually is within you. That's what was difficult. Okay. Hello, travel the world. Glad you could make it. Hope you're having a great day. Definitely no massive super duper requirement to need to respond to anything I ever say. But just wanted to say hello. How are you? I hope you are fine. Yeah, I really want to be able to use this though. My database models do not have a reference to shared localization. Nor should they. Okay, that makes a case for adding localization directly to the models project. I didn't want to do that. I'm doing well, thanks. And how are you today? I'm having fun. So I have today off. In the US, it's Memorial Day. I'm not exactly sure where you are, but I have the day off of my regular day job. Okay, set this to public, and then we will have accounts member title. What did I call them in here? Title display. I'm in Canada. Awesome. Um, Solo Solipsis is from Canada. I think he lives in Canada too, and he does augmented reality development. Anyway, that doesn't matter or anything. You said Canada. That was the first thing I thought of when I thought of Canada. I know someone from Canada. Know him virtually. Why is it that we do that as humans? It's such a weird thing. Oh, whoops. And then that updates your namespace. Didn't, oh, dot enums. Okay, there it goes. But yeah, right now we're just trying to fill in the details for this sketch where I created this list management page sketch. We're going to fill in this lookup list list and then the lookup item edit components. And we are working in Blazor, as you may have heard on IJG's screen. And I guess I do want this for you as well. Am I even using short name? Excuse me. Short name, short name, short name. Inquiring minds want to know. Deposits. No, I'm not using short name anywhere. So I don't know why I have short name in here at all. That's not a good idea. You, 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 and you. So categories is not categories anymore. What's categories types? What are you doing? Quit messing around. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting what buttons to push. But yeah, it's been a fun day so far. I'm definitely enjoying myself on this day off. I'm doing the Microsoft Build Challenge, Cloud Skills Challenge, I think is the full title of it, so that I can get the free certification exam by the time I finish it. And I'm hoping to finish it today. That would be awesome. And that, as well as playing around with a couple of other things that I am interested in. Deposit raisins, line item types, payees. Although I don't know if we're going to manage payees in here. And then recurrence types, which this one is also going to be this type display info exclude true. Because this one is controlled by an enum as well. Awesome, thank you. Thank you. I will do my best to get it done. Hello, Zush. Did you just call me a goat? First of all, I am hardly even close to the greatest. Second, I don't see any goats. I don't see any goats anywhere. Thank you so much for the lurk. Travel that world. Yeah, so this is one of those cases where it's like I have an attribute. I like this approach of creating an attribute on my enums and then having an extension method that gets each part of the attribute. But the thing that you would need to do, that I need to do, is consider how often is this method going to be called, and because of how seldom and or often is it going to cause a performance issue, because we are using reflection in order to get that. The alternative to this, well, there are a few alternatives. My extension method could return, like what I might do is have a private static array of, what are these called? Lookup list type array. Oh, and we need to name it. And this will be called my excluded from management. And that would be a lookup list type of accounts and lookup list type of recurrence types. And those are the only two that I want to exclude. So instead of using a full attribute and reflection for this, it would be as easy as just returning not this, or sorry, I'm doing it in the positive now, excluded contains list type, as opposed to doing this whole reflection mess. And then another alternative is to keep the attribute, but use code generation and then generate my extension method by filling in the is excluded and then maybe turning it into a switch statement that says if it's this thingy, then return true. If it's this thingy, then return true. Otherwise, return false. But I think this is the most straightforward way and readable way. So let's get rid of the attribute. Let's get rid of you and you. Yeah, I like this better. It's easy, it's simple, and this is a private field. So you should be named correctly. Private read only. I think that's the other thing that it wants me to do. Yeah, I like that better. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. Okay, so I want to get all lookup list types where not X is excluded. And you're missing a closing parent now. And we will do an li, and this will just be the at cur lookup because I already have another extension method that I will be using here that uses reflection as well to get the localized string name that I put in that display attribute. And once again, that could be made easier by having that method created down here and then just having an arrows blah 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 blah. Oh my gosh, man. But the reason I didn't do that with this one is because this method is described or defined in a shared extensions so that every enum that has a display attribute can get either the localized version or it can get the non-localized version. Actually, here's the localized version. But only if the dictionary type is provided. I've kind of forgotten how to talk. My throat is having some struggles while I am trying to use words. I don't like that. This is what happens on days when I don't talk very much at the beginning of the day. Like the most dialogue I had was this morning when I said hello and good morning to my wife. And then when we did some exercise, I said a few words to her as well. And then from then on, I've just been quiet. No voice. So 4 hours of not talking, 5 hours of not talking before streaming. Yeah. That's a long time. Okay, so here's what we have so far. We have our list management page. Why didn't, oh, right. It's still treating this lookup list type as not a component. And I think it's because I created this lookup list type class here. And, or no, that's fine. It's named something different. I thought that I was clashing names with an enum and the dictionary, or I guess the code behind generated for that dictionary, but I'm not. So I don't know why you're not able to resolve this. It's in the same namespace. It is well formed. opening div, closing div, opening H3, opening UL, LIs. It doesn't have a code behind file. The only thing that I added was this at using. It's possible that caused some issues. Here, let's just close it and do a clean. And then this will rebuild for us as well as run it. Oh, I guess you could be in the same tab as the Figma. Please. Pretty please. Nope. Lookup list type could not be found. Here, let's manually set the namespace for it, maybe. It'll be finan man Blazor UI components, list management components. Save, and there it is. But that's the namespace it had this whole time. It's so odd. What is wrong with this file? Oh, wait, you know what? This brings back some memories. Back in, when was it? 1562. That doesn't sound right. 1563, when they first thought of Blazor and started putting it into the very, very early versions of Visual Studio. You guys wouldn't have been there. I mean, when you created a new class using the add new file, at the time it was an extension, but add new file extension, and you created a .razor file, the code generation did not hook up correctly for whatever reason. And so the Roslyn compiler wasn't working correctly. The just everything. It broke. It broke. So code gen for the .razor.g.cs file. So let's try a regular Control-Shift-A. Choose Razor component. Name it correctly. Control-Shift-A. Razor component. List. Lookup. I forgot what I called it. Yeah, lookup type list. And there it is. So now we don't need the at using shared localizer service. And I betcha that the list management page also sees it as a component. That is so odd. So I'm going to go ahead and recreate this file using the actual add new item dialog. So that we don't run into the same issue. But if any of you ever run into issues, if you use Shift F2, and I'm assuming that because this is now built into Visual Studio, it would be the same as if you use Control-Shift-A in Compact View, which is essentially the Add New Item dialog. That it's not going to actually use the correct .razor template or process that it does to set up the template, register it with the code generation thing, or whatever it takes to get it to compile correctly. Hopefully we'll remember that, because I do that a lot. But that I've only seen that happen with .razor files. Everything else seems to work just fine. Okay, what that means is now if we .NET Watch, then we should at least see this, not formatted, not styled, but we should see something that says lookup lists and then a bullet list of the lookup list types. Come on. If I F12 on you, you do take, and that's why I couldn't F12 on it earlier. So it wasn't actually hooked up. Okay, is it just cache? Can I control F5? No. Is it there, but not showing? Data entry wrapper? No, it didn't. It didn't render. Why's it gotta be like this? One more clean. This time through the IDE. I have a typo. Lookup type list. Lookup type list. No typo. Self-closing. I don't have any required parameters. It's well formed. I should, at minimum, get the title. They really should put the generated code where the string, the text is in quotation marks for the English version. Or whatever your original. Hello, Purple Dragon. I mean, Max? Max? Maybe not. New username. I had a feeling. I don't know why I had a feeling, but I thought it was you. I hope you're having fun today, having a great day. Purple Max. Okay, looks like build was successful. No errors. Let's go back to .NET Watch. Please, oh please, oh please. What's the ritual here? What's what am I supposed to do to get this to work? Oh, your username was Purple Dragon for the longest time, and you were just too lazy to change it on Twitch, and now you have. And so now you're Purple Dragon again. There we go. Oh my goodness, that took so long. Except that we aren't getting the localized. We're not getting the localized name because I didn't add them to the dictionary. I was starting to, and then I distracted myself. Okay, so let's get count types. Oh, Purple Dragon was taken. Oh, that's dumb. So instead you're using Purple Dragon instead of Purple Dragon. You're now learning PHP. I kind of remember you mentioning it, but you're definitely welcome to repeat yourself. Because just assume that I forget everything. I am not offended by you reminding me of stuff that you may or may not have said before. Not a hater. I just don't prefer it. I think that there are better technologies for doing web development and yeah. So basically a nice hater. Yeah, I guess. That's how you could describe me in a nutshell. I don't know. I mean, if you're having fun with it and or you find it to be really good for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, I have no problem with you using it. I'm not going to tell you don't use that because it's a crap language, just because I feel like there are better things you could use. It is completely up to you what you feel like choosing. Okay, we'll style this later, but for now we're going to make it clickable so that when you click on one of these, it will display. Well, I guess we need to create the, ooh, ooh, we're gonna do it exactly the same way that we do these pages. So this up here is the enum value for each of these tabs. So I'm now going to add a slash and then whichever one of these enums to turn that into the page that you're on. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that first. I thought we were going to start making the lookup by list edit page, but we're not. I think I'm going to learn it a bit. Make a forum site, then I'll learn JavaScript, make a forum website with it, and then I can say I program in PHP and JavaScript. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see anything wrong with, since you have the capacity to learn it all, with learning all of them. Try not to overwhelm yourself. I'm not 100% familiar with your internal drive and motivation, but it seems like you have a lot. Regardless of what your reasons for that motivation are, it just sounds like you have a lot of internal motivation. Yeah, exactly. Which programming language can you program? Me. Yes. So if your motivation just happens to be able to say, I can program in any language, I support you. If it's to do a specific task using some tool, I support you. Coleslaw. Hi. I love the name. Coleslaw says 25 years in construction and a near fatal accident has me learning code at 50. You are never too late to start learning code, to write software. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that the fallout of your accident, that the long-term repercussions of your accident are not difficult to manage. Already learned HTML and CSS on month 6 of JavaScript. So, have you heard of another streamer called Alicia Griffin? She started about 6 months ago as well doing .NET. Shout out to Swimmer. Oh yeah, right. Swimmer. I have no idea how what age he is, but he is definitely still going strong with software development. I don't know if he's like just started learning not too long ago, but yeah. But Max is 13. You're still 13? I could have sworn you would have leveled up by now. Um, but Kosel, it's the programming thing. What was I saying? I don't remember. Nobody wants to hire a one-armed carpenter. No, I haven't heard of that streamer. Oh, okay. So that's what I was saying. Alicia Griffin. So she started about 6 months ago. She's been doing, I think, based off of what she said on her stream, she's been doing nothing but code though for those last 6 months, and it is amazing to see how fast people can learn. It took me, I would say, 4 years to get the basics of programming in general, object-oriented programming. It it took me forever to figure it out. And then one day it started to stick, and then from then on my learning curve was exponential. Learning curve, learning rate of learning rate was exponential. Strings and ints. So for object-oriented programming, that means the actual types, properties, methods, classes, accessors, all of the basic principles of object-oriented programming. I couldn't get it. And then even syntax. Syntax was really hard for me. You just finished OOP, now you're on to functional programming. Yeah, and that's still something I haven't really delved into either, functional programming. So I don't know very much about it at all. Oh, you did level up. You leveled up twice. And now you're about to level up again. Oh my gosh. It took me a few days to get closure. Closures. Closures. Like talking about getting closure. This page. I need code behind. Where are you? Here. We need a parameter. Public string list type. No, give me that suggestion back. Thank you. It's optional. And we're going to have a private. Nope. Private list item type. Lookup list type. I need to remember what these flippin'. Give me another suggestion. Dang it. Arrows. And you're going to be capitalized. Oh man, I'm starting to rely on what is this called? Copilot / IntelliCode a little bit too much. Enum try parse lookup list type out var of t. If that's successful, give me back LT. Otherwise, give me back the first one, account types. Okay, so we're going to default to account types. If we aren't given a list type in the route, otherwise we will use whatever the parsed list type is. Okay, back to chat. So Max is saying, I get flashbacks when I tried programming with 7 or 8. Oh, when you were 7 or 8. I thought only gods can understand syntax. I didn't check anything. And then Marcus said, I built my first Maui app. It runs fine in Visual Studio. How do I run it outside Visual Studio as opening the exe fails? During .NET Run fails as well. .NET Run, yeah. So if you don't put all of the correct command line arguments in your .NET Run, which I don't know exactly how to do it from command line. Thank you so much for the follow, Coleslaw. But you would essentially publish the app in order to run it outside of Visual Studio. So right click on it, publish, do it as a click it once or sideload or whatever you're going to do, depending on what your target is going to be. Right. Just pick my certificate, the one that I created for the WPF app. Dang it. Whatever. You would create a self-signed. I'm just going to skip that for now. I don't have any publishing profile. Right. I removed it from release. I don't remember. I don't know why it doesn't have a published profile or a build profile currently. But anyway, point is, you go through this process, create your self-contained package, run it from there. Thank you so much, Max. I love this shirt. It's starting to fall apart, but you can still see him. You can still see the Batman. Oh, geez. Okay, so Max asked, "What did you work? Where did you work before?" To Coleslaw. Oh, there was a new to this environment. Just finish OP. Right, yeah, okay. I own my own construction business for 25 years. Hope you don't mind if I learn the environment by following your stream. I don't mind at all. Feel free to ask questions. You can hop into our Discord if you want to ask questions during your learning journey. We have a lot of people that are really helpful and just willing to answer any type of question, from newbie questions to my overly complicated, poorly worded questions. If you at least give it a shot. So I appreciate that a lot. We won't be able to answer well, I don't know about that. We do have a wide variety of people on our Discord, but predominantly we have .NET developers on our Discord. So if you ask .NET questions, we have a lot of people that can answer those. But infrastructure type stuff, SA, systems admins type stuff, and other languages like PHP and JavaScript frameworks. We do have a few people that could answer those. And of course, if you just want to chat about chatting, if there are topics that you feel like bringing up, on Fridays, I have a community day on the stream where you can come into the stream and join a voice channel in Discord if you feel like it, or we just chat. Like, I pay more attention to chat than normal. Oh, man. Forgot about that. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it this way. This is no bueno. And the reason that this is not good. Break time is over. Thank you guys so much. Back to coding. I'm okay. But can't use my right arm very well. I mean, you said you lost it? Or you have it, it's just you can't use it very well. Okay. I fell 30 feet with my full tool with a full tool belt and punctured my lung with my rib and hammer. Oh my gosh, that sounds painful. I felt it. Felt it. I'm a body type, so I feel things like that. Okay, so I can't do it like this, and the reason that I can't do it like using a route, so I was planning on using the parameter up here. The reason that I can't do that is because this is not an actual page. This is a component inside of my data entry pages. And so I won't have all of this header stuff. But what I can do is add it to this. So let me grab all this. Oops, except that we can keep the parameter. Except that the parameter is going to be the enum. Right. We got this. Okay, so then back on the main page, we will have list type. And in our code behind, we will have, I said in our code behind, we will have another parameter, pasta. Oh my goodness, why are you being so laggy? So laggy. Interesting, so I'm doing it this way. Do I want to do it the same? Of course I want to do it the same. Because we know that that way works, so why not? Excuse me, I belched. Okay, so on set parameters, we're going to try parsing the, wow, that is a lot of code just to try to parse the entry type. Because I am making sure that every single time that you set the parameter that we do a route event so that we can use the back button. Yeah, I really don't know why I'm doing it this way. Okay, let's just see what happens to the actual code. If I use the other approach that I was just about to use, which is using arrows. And this was going to be enum.try parse trip parse. No. Duplicate. You're being very unhelpful right now. You know that, right? Ah, oh, poop. I need the. Dang it. I need this. It's way back here. That's a lot of deleting. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Out var t question mark t else the default. Okay. Then both of these need to be something like val instead. Or ent type. Okay. So the only thing that this isn't doing for us is the redirect back to data entry if we entered an invalid thing in the URL. But I'm kind of curious to see how it handles that. So then on the actual page, instead of using entry type, we're going to use ent type val. And in our list management page, we will set the list type to list type val. And it broke. Why did you broke? Ent type val does not exist? Yes, it does. I saved everything. That's weird. It was treating this file like I didn't save it. Or it's still treating this file like I didn't save it. Oh my goodness, why are you being so weird? Ent type val. Ent type val. No changes. Yes, there are. Okay, you know what? You know what? Stop. Go. Just warnings, no errors. Cool. So it actually built. All right, so if we go to the page without anything, it still does select payments. If we choose something else, then it selects something else. If we type random stuff into the URL, then it takes us here with payments, but it does not redirect. And that's why I had it in the set params async, so that we could get rid of whatever gibberish they put in the URL. A user would put into the URL, I should say. I think I still can. And why is payments broken now? Why can't I go back to payments? Can't go back to payment suddenly. All right, so two things. We can still do this, which is if not parameters is an ent type, entry type. No, wait, name of ent type. That's right. So if we aren't able to parse the passed in ent type, then we can still do this. We can still redirect to empty URL. And so that applied code changes. So if I type in gibberish and I hit Shift Enter because I know how to do that, redirect me, dagnabbit. Oh my goodness. We're not using the variable. So if we can't parse the, why are you doing type of string? What did this work to begin with? Like, what even is this logic? Hold on. Let's go back to this. What were you at before? Why is this trying to parse it to a string? You should not be trying to parse it to a string. You should have been trying to parse it as an entry type. I'm glad we're rewriting this because I have no idea what that was before. That would be why this thing never ran. And again, we aren't using that. We're just checking to see, can we parse ent type to an entry type enum? If not, navigate. So I can get rid of this. I'm going with it. I'm going with it. I'm confident it's going to work. And that would be why I couldn't make it back. Oh, ent type. Okay. What do you say? Error. I'm breaking it. I'm breaking it all over the place. No reference exception. Nuh-uh. Ent type is nullable. What? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Welcome back, Max. I hope you enjoyed your time away. And actually, I kind of like that better. I like setting it equal to string.empty. That way we don't have to default it when we're trying to parse it. Okay, stop it with these no reference exceptions. Stop it with these no reference exceptions. Line 29. Oh, right. This is possibly null. Oh, this is so hard to read like this. Squish. If not parameters try get value out var. No, parameters is potentially null. Oh, wow. Okay, I get it. I remember now. Jiminy Christmas. All right, all right, all right. Copy you. Here's the thing. We need the parameter int type param, which is a string, and this is the thing that gets passed in via this parameter view. And so now the thing that we need to actually test against is enum.tryparse. Enum.tryparse. Okay, so if int type param is null or not enum.tryparse out var, are you not allowed to be null? Okay, so if not this, we're still going to get a null reference exception, aren't we? What are you angry about? Why are you? But I need to use int type. So it's telling me to use the discard variable here, just like I'm using here. But I'm actually using the value from the variable right here to try to parse it. That's so weird. By the way, you talked about my motivation, I think. It's so I'm bored, want to be productive, program. If I had a game that would make fun and has over 60 FPS on a 3070, shout out to Jedi Survivor, I wouldn't program so much. So you're kind of lacking other entertainment, and so you're just turning to programming. I support you. What is still null? Yeah, I don't like that I need to keep stopping and restarting the app. I think something happened to hot reload in the last in 16.0. You got this. Yeah, this page is frozen. Aha. Okay, that page is dead. But main page loads just fine. Deposit. Deposit does not load. What did I break? Yeah, this entire thing was a navigation event that I needed to happen, and I needed to control the page that it was on. And so when we're on the main page, if I click deposits, then It actually went to the deposits page. Wait, what? That was really confusing. It went to the deposits page, and then it must have hit this and then navigated back to base page because one of these two was false. Do you need to rebuild? No. Or it does because it's frozen again. All confusing. What am I doing incorrectly here? How am I thinking about this wrong? Check the incoming parameter. Make sure that we were able to parse the incoming parameter and, or not parse, but that we found the entity type parameter and that the entity type could, oh, name of, could be parsed to an entry type. Oh my gosh, this kid. Do you sometimes, do you have sometimes blackouts when programming? Like where you can't focus or you're so confused that you can't think anymore? Absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't happen as often as it used to, but there are just times when I'm staring at the screen like, what what am I even looking at? What even is words? Something is causing, oh, and it was looping here. That's why it looks like it's frozen. Because I was stuck on set parameters async. Because every single time that oh my gosh, that's still going to be an issue. Every single time that it navigates back to here, so one more guard would be not string is null or white space. It's going to hop into this loop where it has the entity type. It finds the entity type parameter, but that thing does not parse. Okay, okay. Do the thing. This will be the last thing that we do for now. And then, promise, on Wednesday, we're going to finish the list management page, the actual edits list management. Did I just drop? It still says I'm broadcasting, and I can still see myself on the mobile studio. Something else happened. Twitch, are you okay? Oh. All of my browsers are suffering from that little snafu. All right, let's close that Chrome tab. It's probably eating up all of my RAM. All right, that's going to go away. All right. All right. Are we good? Am I still alive? That's HTTP. Let's go HTTPS. Yeah, that was totally scary. I thought I broke everything everywhere all at twice. That is a very tall window. Yeah. Okay, good to go. We're back. Last thing that we're going to do for now. But no, you are not dumb, Max. Chances are you're either thinking about too many things at the same time, you're fatigued, or you're just not in headspace. I said either and gave you 3 options again. Okay, just work. We got no reference exceptions. We navigated to a different tab. That's working. And if we type in gibberish, let's start on a different tab. If we type in gibberish, it does a full, no, it doesn't even do a navigate. It actually reloaded the app. So for now, I'm going to go with that's an okay thing. Actually, no, that's what it was supposed to do. Never mind. Because I typed in gibberish into the address bar and hit enter, it's like even if I hit enter on this page, it would reload the app. So never mind. Normal behavior, everything is back to the way that it was working. It just looks cleaner, in my opinion. And it seems to be working fine. So now I guess I really do want to get this last little piece, which was making it so that when you click on one of these items, that it will navigate to that particular item, at least show it in the route. So on click is going to be the same on click that we have in our regular navigation header, which is handle, and in this case, list type. And then that's just going to be her lookup. Do you have a code behind yet? It does not. Why do you need a parameter? Oh, yeah, I guess. You do need a callback. I don't know why it's keeping these 3 backticks. Like everything is markdown suddenly. Oh, and you actually need to be a lambda. Cool. And so this handle is going to be here on this page. Need to get rid of that. On list type selected. Do you have a code behind? You do. Okay, enjoy, Max. Thanks for hanging out for as long as you did. I need to stop soon anyway. Well, I don't need to stop soon, but I would like to so that I can finish off my learn modules. Task. Yeah, I want to do it here. I definitely want to do it here. And this thing is going to get a private navigation manager, navigation manager. Nope, navigate to. Close. It's going to be data entry slash just because I want to make sure that I'm using the same name no matter what, I am going to use entry type list management slash list type is a string. And apparently this can be void. All right, and then the only other guard that we'll need to put in is making sure that the lookup list type is a valid lookup list type. And then if it's not, then we will navigate to data entry slash lookup list management. And we'll follow the same pattern that we did on the other page, but let's just see this work. List management page does not have a property matched on list type selected. But see, I told you, I am just relying on flipping code completion when I really ought not to. Parameter event callback, lookup list type, on list type selected. Wait, yeah, it does. Oh, it's doing this thing again. Marcus Voice Coder says, I found a workaround. Ran as normal from Visual Studio, then pinned it to my toolbar. And I only want to run it myself and on Windows. Oh, interesting. But you said that running the executable from the bin directory didn't work either. So how does pinning it to your toolbar work? Trying to find the message that you wrote where you put that you made your first Maui app. Yeah, opening the exe fails and .NET Run fails. And it'll hopefully still work after you restart. Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, I'll wrap up very, very soon if that's keeping you from restarting. Otherwise, please feel free to restart. Yeah, this thing is telling me that this event callback doesn't exist. On list type selected, parameter, on lookup list type, lookup type list, lookup type list. Because there is no add symbol when you do flipping components. What is... I need to stop relying on code completion. This is really starting to hinder progress more than help. I don't like that. All right, clear console, refresh. We're still getting errors though. And hot reload again does not seem to be working. So I changed it to not have the @ symbol anymore. And it was still saying that we couldn't find a component or a parameter on the component that has @ on. And there we go. Okay, so watch the address bar. And there we go. It is working as expected. You click on the lookup list item and it changes your route. It actually does a navigate to. And what we're going to see is after we do the navigate to, this list down here is going to update, and we may as well write that real quick. List lookup type, lookup type, private, lookup list type, and we'll start with account types by default. And we're going to pass list type, and down here, why am I in lookup list type? That should have been this page. Here, we're going to have list type, and then in here, we're going to have a parameter public lookup list type. Lookup type. And we're just going to output it. Are you actually going to rebuild, or you just fibbing us? Fibbing us chi. Need to turn your volume back on. Turn your volume back on. Other stream ended. Okay, so we have account types down here, and so that is not, that's what I was expecting, or I didn't want that to happen, but the actual component down here is not updating. So we would need to tell it to re-render as soon as we change pages. So lookup type parameter. Actually, we might be able to do that. Reload succeeded. Are you sure? Yeah, I don't think so. But we're gonna figure that out on Wednesday. So that's gonna be it for me for now. I will be back on Wednesday. I'll go ahead and set up a raid for Thindle. You saw him in here earlier, creator of NoDocs and just all around interesting guy. So we're gonna hop over to his stream. I'll be hanging out there for the rest of the day, or for the rest of his stream, I guess. And we will reconvene at a later time. So I hope you guys had fun today. I had some amount of fun until I got frustrated by hot reload and by things not actually loading the way that I thought it was and the component not working. Anyway, but still good overall. May you enjoy the rest of your day. And if you feel like it, come back on Wednesday for day 135 of this project, where we will fill in the details of doing the list edit based off of the selected list type, and then doing some styling here so that this looks more like a select list. And then that's it. And then we'll fill in the functionality for being able to actually maintain the list. Okay, ciao for now. I'll post this video to YouTube no sooner than 24 hours after I end it. Okay, ciao.